Ed, we're going to wrap up part 1 right now. We're going to come back with part 2. Go ahead and send us the commercial.
What
are you doing? Everything's fine. Don't adjust your TV. Don't adjust your phone. Don't adjust your iPad. This is still Rubio. I just want to let you know about my other show called The Rubio Method on the NGBN.TV network. It's a show about men's mental health. We're all going through it together, and it's just one of those shows where it's a funny, lighthearted show where I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'm having a good time while I'm doing it. You will have a good time. We've had over 30 episodes, and you can find us at therubiomethod.com.
Welcome back to part 2 of Memepalooza Volume 2. Ed, I just got called from every network, and they said they want that commercial played on a loop throughout the show. So I don't know if you can make that happen. I'm not really sure what you do back there, but just let's make that happen. I want to keep the higher ups because you know how into the mainstream media I am. Ed, can we do for our next meme for part 2? Is Ed awake? There.
Who touched the United States where on that picture?
Ed, can you pull it up one more time?
Oh,
is that Texas?
I just want to give him a blanket.
That's most definitely Texas right there.
I got you. Judge, what's your thoughts on that? Basically saying socialism bad.
Are we equating socialism with the border policy? Was that the?
Well, it said the word socialism on it, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, but then it was pointing at the border, wasn't it? I'm not sure what it meant. Whose meme is it? Maybe they can tell me.
Fine. It's a meme on no means no and protecting our border and letting people in that don't agree with our politics is a way to socialism because the Democrats are doing it to get votes and they're totally ignoring Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, letting all these things go on. And somebody should be in trouble for it. I mean, we need to stop it. We can't afford to have all these people coming in. It's our border. We have policies. The president, Mayorkas, they're all breaking our own policies, and it's just kind of gotten ridiculous. We could quell it and do it right.
Well, I guess all those people that getting their jobs stolen, picking cherries in Washington are pretty upset about all the people coming across the border. But the fact remains is that at least in the West and the Northwest, agriculture wouldn't exist without these people coming across the border. So,
but that
existed for hundreds of years.
Group of people.
Pardon me?
Isn't that a very finite group of people? Yes, in the upper Northwest, you've got your quote-unquote Mexicans that are coming to pick the strawberries. In Oxnard, California, you've got the same thing. LA, you've got the exact same issue. I think what Jim is talking about is the mass infiltration that's happening right now. And it's not just the Mexicans, the quote-unquote Mexicans. I mean, you've Chinese. They're coming from every single corner of the world right now. And I mean, you can see them coming in.
You're talking about global movement of populations. That's always existed. You're not going to stop that. We tried isolationism before World War I, before World War II. It didn't work. You can't control a global economy by shutting the borders to your country.
But can we put like a sieve on it? I mean, because since El Trumpo's gone, I mean, they're simple stats show you Joey B takes over. Welcome all.
I don't think your stats show that at all. I think there was just as much during the Trump years. If you look at your statistics, they predicted a great flood when this last law ended because of the way the border policy set up. It didn't happen. So it's again media hype.
Okay. We'll have to do another border episode. Alex, Chris, your thoughts?
Well, as a legal immigrant, I've been living in the States for like 28 plus years. I don't agree with us just U.S. opening the border and say, hey, it takes forever to legally do it. Just let everybody else in, okay, and then figure it out, okay? Because like I live in California, I mean, I see already issues with too many people, straining social services and stuff, I mean, basically schools are overcrowded and all that stuff, So it's not just, hey, it's okay. Well, it's okay, but it doesn't work, basically.
And Alex, what's your thoughts on the socialism aspect of it that Jim spoke about?
Well, I lived under so-called socialism, which basically only works in the book of Karl Marx. Okay, in real life, it doesn't work because we were told that everybody is equal, but in real life, somebody else was always more equal than you are. Okay, so socialism blows, and in my opinion, commies belong 6 feet under. Okay.
That's a quote of the night. Socialism blows, commies belong 6 feet under. Ed, we got to write that down. Joe, thoughts?
I think it's all been said. I got nothing else to add.
Holy Jesus. Okay, cut the film. Cut the film. Jimmy Mack, go.
I mean, I think it's a lot to do about nothing. I mean, they chose to focus on the border when whatever that little law had passed. I mean, even our news was inundated with reporters at the border. They showing people cutting through barbed wire and climbing under fences. I mean, it's just a hyper-centralization of it all. But I don't think it's going to lead to socialism. I mean, I think it has more to do with us being cheap. I mean, we don't want to pay our citizens, like as Judge said, the agriculture system. We use it. We pay. It's like the modern day slavery. We're paying these people pennies so we can pay for cheap strawberries and cheap produce and stuff like that. Pay people honest wages, get people out there really working, because there are lots of Americans who are homeless who wish they had a job picking strawberries and cherries. But we use that as an excuse, like we let the immigrants in, or the illegal immigrants in, to work these fields. I mean, either we eat or we starve. So you're gonna have to pick which way it is. So I think they make a big thing about the immigration system, and they take advantage of it by paying them low wages, so we don't have to pay a whole lot for our food, or quote unquote a whole lot for our food. So I think
Speaking of eating, can you almost taste the irony of someone like Mayor Adams in New York, who last year was saying, we're a sanctuary city, come one, come all. And then just literally last week, he goes, we're not a sanctuary city. Everyone leave. This is not good. We don't want this. We don't want this. I mean, no one else sees the irony of that, or even Chicago's done that. Joe, shout out to Joe for Chicago. I mean, no one sees the irony in that. Cruz, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's very filled with irony. I mean, in the sense that even when they did the thing with Martha's Vineyard, they dropped off like 100 or so immigrants.
No, I think it was like 50.
Yeah, if that. And the entire place shut down. They had no idea what to do. I mean, and living in Southern California, this is like things you see all the time is, you have people that work for you that are illegal immigrants. You have people that you hang out with whose parents are illegal immigrants. I mean, it's just a way of life, and I agree with Alex on everything he said about communism. And then I agree with a good chunk of what Jimmy Mack said. I mean, I think there's ways of going at it from both sides.
All right. Ed, give us the next meme, bud. Good God, Joe.
How did you know?
It was either you or the judge, and the judge. I thought it might have been the judge because he'd want the box to look over the fence. Go ahead, Joe. Explain your little meme.
Well, there's two different things. There's equality, which is where you just let everyone have the same chance, no matter how tall you are, to look at the game. There's equity, where you give everyone a chance to look at the game. And then there's the system we live under, which is capitalism, which is whoever gets the most boxes gets to create the best view, and the police will beat you the fuck up if you ask too many questions.
I thought you lived in safe Philadelphia, where everything's safe.
So we just had a case this week where a police officer was found not guilty for breaking a window, taking a child out, and beating the shit out of the 28-year-old mother because the mother made a wrong turn during some civil unrest. The cop got off because a cop didn't show up for one subpoena, and the other witnesses didn't show up for their subpoenas either. I mean, it's a rigged system, no matter what, where state-sanctioned violence is always going to protect the people in charge, and it's going to really prevent anyone who's looking to try to have equity or equality, when really it's just who has the biggest bank account.
Okay, but let's do equity and equality. I'm going to put you and Jimmy Mack in pads and go out for routes. I'm betting on Jimmy Mack 1,000 times. I don't care how many times you guys start at the same start.
Okay.
You can't explain. How can you explain that? Because I can give you both equal shots. You guys both have 10 40-yard dashes. Okay, you both have the same exact shoes on. No matter how many times you run, you're never beating him. So
Right.
Is it equity or equality? You're never going to beat him.
That would be equity. Equality would be making Jimmy Mack run with ankle weights so I'd have a chance. But no
So why
one
should we lower him? Should we cut off LeBron's legs so he's not 6'8"? So you want to lower Jimmy Mack's ability to be a fast human being on the greatest football team in college football history with the greatest long snapper to appease you?
No, the bigger question is, how do we make it so that LeBron
You
James,
can't.
the guy that picks up LeBron James's trash, both have the same quality of life or in the same potential for quality of life?
He can't.
That's
The guy just picking up
equality
LeBron
in a
James
capitalist
trash
system.
will never have the same ability that LeBron James, because he's not a 6'8" man that can dunk from the free throw line and he can make 75 shots a night. Some people are just more gifted. That's just the way it is.
Hey, but LeBron James has never done anything for society. Like, put your trash into the dump, Rubio.
I don't know if he goes green. He may reduce, reuse, recycle. I'm not going to throw bones on him. I have no idea. Jim Gingrich, you're shaking your head a lot.
Equity is the path to socialism because you can't hamstring people. Liberty and equality, they don't really go together because some people are better. Again, Jimmy Mack would beat him every time. So we're supposed to either hamstring Jimmy Mack or give Joe a head start. Everybody has the same rights to succeed, to make a business, to get a job, to get an education, to buy a good seat by working hard. And what we have is people like Joe, sadly, thinking everybody should get the same exact treatment. Well, guess what? That's paid for by other people who've worked hard, and they pay for that equity. And that's not fair to me or to the people that pay the taxes to make that happen.
Hold on. Sub 60s Ed citing.
I just had to throw my 2 cents in on this one. Equity is giving Joe the ability or the opportunity to run against Jimmy Mack.
Okay, he's still going to get his ass smoked.
It might still get his ass smoked, but he has the opportunity, just like everybody else, to go get their ass smoked versus Jimmy Mack.
Okay, but who's saying he doesn't have that opportunity? He can go out for UCLA.
No, but sometimes, depending on what the situation is, they might not have that equal opportunity.
I'm not, Ed, not the personal. I'm not picking you for my basketball team, and you're not going to pick me for the sprinting team. I mean, we both have the equal opportunity, but common sense says, right. Ed, you're not my starting power forward.
Right.
You and Judge, you can form your own teams.
But we're talking this on a grander scale, Rubio.
I know, but I'm looking at it I'm looking at it. You know me. I'm going to break it down. Hold on. Let me come to the judge because he's going to sprain his neck shaking his head so much.
Well, I am, because you're shooting up on a totally false premise. He's talking about equity, equality, and capitalism, not your athletic ability or lack of athletic ability.
I'm trying to break it down for you, Judge.
No, you're breaking it down inaccurately. That's the problem.
Okay, so help me out.
The meme is equity, equality, and capitalism. What it's talking about is, okay, my dad's going to give me $10 million to start my business. That's not equality or equity with the guy fighting his way up through the inner cities. That's the capitalistic part that's not fair. I think that Joe's starting to talk about.
Okay, but then you want to trickle into socialism where everyone should have $1 million equally.
I would like that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, Alex, Chris, you want to jump in here before your pants catch on fire here?
Well, I used to live in an apartment in West Hollywood, and the owner of the apartment was a son of a very successful businessman who owned like 50 different apartment buildings. But this guy was a druggie, and he basically blew them all. Okay, so he got a good head start, but you know, again, he basically threw it all away buying and using drugs. Okay, so
And Alex is the only one that's actually lived through socialism.
Yeah. In fact, during the socialism, for example, everybody, like whether you're an engineer or a worker or a truck driver and whatnot, government would give you a maximum amount of money that you can actually earn. And you cannot, you can go from job to job, but you won't earn more than a particular job actually pays by government's Excel spreadsheet, okay, if you will. And then, you know, like during the 80s when, you know, openness and Gorbachev came to power, they allowed people to make extra money by doing more work, and people who didn't want to do it, they were people who wanted to. Okay, so I just, you know, just my 2 cents on that.
Jim Gingrich.
Well, I think my point's known. What Joe showed is basically that a republic or that our country is wrong. And so if you want socialism, there's plenty of socialist countries. I mean, everybody does have the same chance. I grew up with nothing and I did okay for myself. Jimmy Mac's still going to beat me in a race. I'm not going to whine about it. Might take him to the boards playing hoops, but there's no way to even stuff out without having some sort of socialistic Marxist government, and that never works. So equality is what we search for. If everybody has the same opportunity, some aren't going to end up in the same place, but that's life.
Jimmy Mack.
I saw the meme as like the golden rule. Capitalism is just the golden rule. He who has the gold makes all the rules. So if you have an advantage in life where you can make influence and stuff and power like that, you can change, either make it equity, or you can have like he had in the capitalism part where somebody's shooting somebody on the ground. I mean, it all depends on how you see it. I mean, everybody comes from all different walks of life, but in the United States, we all have an opportunity to get out of that. Because my dad's a fisherman doesn't mean I have to be a fisherman, So that's why I like living in this country. I like doing that. I don't have to be what my dad was. I don't have to learn a trade that's the family trade. I can go out and be whatever I want to be. So, I mean, I like that part of it. I mean, is it perfect? No, because it's humans. Humans run things. We're not perfect. So we're going to always have imperfect systems. But at least here we have a chance to change our stripes.
I just don't see how it can all be equal. There's 3 billion people in the United States, or how many? I don't know how many. No, not 3 billion.
350 million.
Yeah, 350 million. Excuse me. Whatever. Well, after Joey Speed Border, there might be 3 billion. But I just don't understand how you can feasibly make it equal to everyone. It's just impossible. I just don't get it.
Rubio, would you be for or against a 100% tax rate on wealth above $1 billion?
Totally against it. Why should I be punished for making $1 billion? And if you did that to me and I was the billionaire, I would make 999 million every single day, and then I'd open up another company under a different name.
What if you got to get
why would I be punished for making money? Do you know how many people I'm employing if I made $1 billion? Do you know how many people Amazon employs? How many people Elon Musk employs?
You don't get punished.
You know how many people are paying taxes? That's the thing. I maybe I'm being ignorant here. Judge, don't answer. I don't understand how you can make everyone equal. Okay.
Flat
Jim's got a
tax.
bigger butt and legs than Cruz. Cruz, you were born with terrible legs. I'm sorry. You got it from me. Okay. You're never going to squat 500 pounds. Sorry. That's just, you lose. And equality,
I'm getting close.
I don't care. What?
I'm getting close.
No, you're not.
I'm like 90 pounds.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Luckily, you had a mother too.
Ed, let's all get a visual of Cruz trying to squat 500 as we go to the last commercial.
Hi, my name is Harvey Laguerre, host of Men of the Prize, here on NGBN. On this show, Black men discuss our unique struggles, what we've gone through to become the men that we are today, and we do it in a safe space. So if you want to see Black men discussing our unique issues, give us a try. And if you want to tell us about your unique struggles, get on here and tell us all about it. Talking is the key. My name is Harvey, and you are the man, and you are the prize. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to Decades, your new favorite show on the NGBN.TV network. Make sure you're subscribed to Decades on YouTube. Make sure you share it. And Harvey actually was just on the Rubio Method. That's another phenomenal podcast. I don't know if you guys know. And he was great. He's really into the 80s. Ed, what's our final meme? All right, we'll start with Cruz because he's probably the Bud Light connoisseur at age 21. Everyone else has taste buds.
Yeah, so this was mine. It just shows a little bit of hypocrisy within the left's issues. I think, they told us that if you didn't like what was on the Bud Light can, or if you didn't really have a strong support of Dylan Mulvaney as a person, then don't buy it. And then people didn't buy it, and then they got pissed off at that. And now we said the same thing about Aunt Jemima, and they freaked out. So that was just kind of that meme.
Judge, you look very relaxed right now. Why don't you go with your Hawaiian shirt?
Well, I completely agree with the premise. If you don't like it, don't buy it, but shut the hell up. Let me buy it if I want to. I don't care if it's syrup or Bud Light.
Good job, Judge.
Keep it to yourself.
Okay. Alex, Chris? Alex, breaker. What's your thought on that meme, Alex?
You muted.
I think Alex cannot hear us.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us, Alex?
Well, I agree with with Cruz and John.
Ed, you got to cut him for a second. Hold on. He's got a bad signal right now. Joe Nolan. Where are you? There you
I
are.
think it's it's pretty funny, but I mean, at the end of the day, neither of those were political activists or politicians. Those were both decisions made by companies and marketing firms because their cost benefit analysis.
Actually.
Oh.
Ed, when he comes on, just mute him until he gets settled. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I think it's just two different companies that were just doing cost benefit analysis on their spreadsheets. And one said we should change the brand name because it'll appeal to more people. And the other said, hey, why don't we send one can to one person for a small 45-second marketing ad? I mean, it shows where most people are at is towards acceptance and inclusion and has really nothing to do with it outside of giving talking heads like us something to talk about on podcasts or the blogosphere or whatever else we're supposed to be doing all day long.
Do you really think they looked at a cost analysis, or they said we don't want to get crushed by the woke mob?
I think we both said the same thing, just with like less politically charged terms.
We'll agree to disagree. Jimmy Mack.
I was a little mad about Aunt Jemima syrup being like, I didn't see anything wrong with it. We all know black people can cook really well, and I'm quite sure we can make good syrup as well. So, I didn't get it. I didn't understand why it was such an issue. I personally bought it when I ate, breakfast that needed syrup on it. So now I got to go to Mrs. Buttersworth. I'm not for sure what her race is or what her affiliation is. So, it's tough for me sometimes. But I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was taking it too far because she became like the symbolism of us eating together. I mean, even though we're sitting at separate breakfast tables, if a white person's eating Aunt Jemima and I'm eating Aunt Jemima, I don't think that we were sitting there politicizing it. It was good tasting syrup. So I don't get it with that. And I wouldn't want to be on a Bud Light can. I'm sorry, I don't drink that stuff. I do the IPA, so I could care less about Bud Light.
We get it. You're a hipster, Jimmy Mack. Alex, Chris, now you're back with us.
Well, I agree with Jimmy Mack. People should decide what to drink regardless who is on a can. Okay, and also don't drink Bud Light. There's plenty of beer from Germany that I like. I mean, I'm not buying Bud Light just because I don't like it, not because somebody is on a can. Okay.
James Gingrich, finish us off until my turn.
Cruz's meme was trying to illustrate is there's a hypocrisy, right? They run around talking about freedom and the progressive agenda and calling people fascists, but they don't understand that freedom is exactly that. They want you to be complicit in their ideology. They want you to praise and celebrate it. And that's not what freedom is. Just like that teacher in New York is throwing a laptop off the table because they had pro-lifers there. You don't have to agree with that, but that's a problem with the left. And I think that's what Cruz's meme is saying. Like, they have a problem if you don't agree with them. And that is exactly the opposite of freedom. And they're busy calling everybody fascists.
Judge, I hate to give you some more time, but go ahead because you were smirking.
Well, I just find that amusing when we look at the sanctimonious in Florida, that the left is the ones to blame. And as far as Bud Light being worried about the woke people not buying their product, I'm pretty sure they don't buy their product now.
But then why? But I think that's the point where he's trying to get to is then why keep playing to them? Like there's a new Ford Raptor ad where it's going through the dirt and it comes out and it's got this big rainbow flag on it, which, okay, you got to do what you got to do. I don't see the gay market being towards the Ford Raptor truck. And why would you even play that angle? That's what I don't get. Jim?
We're making the exception the rule. There's always rules to the exception, but we seem to be in a point where we're making the exceptions the rules. And like you stated earlier, what about my feelings, right? We're supposed to cow down to, you know, a tiny percentage and just screw all of our feelings. There's no compromise. And so to me, it's really out of balance. You can't just forget about one group because you've decided this group is worth, you know, your argument or your debate or your podcast, right? Everybody needs to be able to be involved in the conversation and not be called names because they don't agree with a policy, a practice, a procedure. And so to me, it's just that hypocrisy is kind of what that meme called out.
Guys, you guys were fantastic today. This is exactly the way I wanted the show to go. Ed, you came in way too quick right there. I don't like you coming in that hot. This is the way I wanted the show to go. We're not going to always agree. We can agree to disagree. We're from all different cultures, religions, heights, syrup tendencies. For Jimmy Mack, we found out that black people can cook. I didn't know that before. Jimmy Mack, thank you for clarifying.
Anytime.
I'm kidding, of course. So this is anyone that's watching. Make sure you obviously follow us on YouTube, share throughout, and make sure you try to have some of these conversations with people, whether it's your neighbors, just someone you just don't always agree with, and just try to have at least one conversation so we can have this spread more and more and more, get some more people on here. Ed, it's your time, my man.
You know, it was a tough decision, but the winner for this episode of Decades is going to go to our newcomer, Alex Chris, for his comment for his new quote on communism and socialism.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yay!
So, you are the winner, Al. You are the winner of the session.
Everyone cheers and smile. I'm going to take a screenshot.
Cheers!
Fantastic. All right, guys, until next time, catch us at Decades on the NGBN.TV network. We are out of here.
Adios.
Nice job.